Warlords of Draenor expansion. Right now I'm waiting for everything to get done downloading, so right now I'm just going to go over the main points of the patch notes. So first off is the new character models. All the character models for like Dwarf, Gnome, Human, Night Elf, Orc, Tauren, Troll, Undead, Draenei, they've all been redone to have better texture resolution, better facial emotions, and a complete character overhaul pretty much. They're going to retain their, I guess, their lore look still, obviously, just in a lot better resolution. They also revamped Group Finder and pre-made groups so that pretty much you can enter your, say, small group. Say if you have 2 friends you're playing with, so 3 of you can enter into the pre-made Finder tabs or whatever, and you can, as a group, you can put in that you're looking for people, or you can search the list for other groups and send invites to separate groups to your party, or vice versa. Say if you and 2 other friends want to join a raid together, you just list your group in that pre-made screen, and you can basically queue as a group and wait for an invite that way. Quest log stuff has been redone. It has been integrated into the world map to make it easier to know where to go and what to do. So if any of you have played Rift, it's kind of like how Rift's quest things are set up, if I'm reading this right at least, to where on your mini-map, as you get in proximity of a quest, it'll show up on your mini-map like an area, like a circular area in which you can complete that quest. And so if you have a kill quest, it'll highlight, on your mini-map where, you should be to do that quest. Inventory improvements. Now this is going to be really good for me because I love farming, I love mining. They've actually increased the stack size from 20 for trade skill materials, so like any kind of ores or herbs, stuff like that, stone. They've increased the stack size from 20 up to 200. So that means that my mining bag can hold like 6,000 ore in it, which is going to be ridiculous. I'm used to being able to, I'll go out farming and I'm like, okay, I want to fill up my 36 slot mining bag, and then I'll go to town and post it on the auction house. Now to fill up that 36 slot mining bag, it's going to take a long time. So it's kind of nice because it's going to reduce the amount of garbage that's, piles up in my bags when I go farming and do stuff like that. Also, stuff in your inventory is going to have a border around it to indicate the quality of the item. Poor will be gray, legendary, orange, rares, blue, shit like that. So basically, you can do a quick scan over your inventory. Say if you pick something up in a dungeon and you have like 2 bags full of stuff, you don't have to mouse over everything to find it. You just look for the items with the blue borders that you remember picking up, and there it is. It'll just make easier navigation. Regent Bank. Regent Bank tab has been added to the bank, providing storage for raw materials. So characters can now craft using the materials stored in both the Regent Bank and bank from anywhere. So say if you have one kind of ore in one bank tab and one kind of ore in another Regent Bank tab, you can go to the forge. Instead of having it in your bags, it'll actually pull it from your bank. So you don't actually have to have it on you to do it. So end characters can also purchase an additional tab for void storage. So that's an extra 80 spaces that you can have. There's going to be new raid structures. Each difficulty is going to have its own lockout. So depending on if you do flex or normal or heroic or mythic or LFR, it's going to have its own lockout. So if you do Siege of Orgrimmar on Flex, you're not locked out on normal, stuff like that. Boosted characters, newly boosted characters. So if you pay $60 to have your character boosted to level 90, you'll now start at the front lines in the Blasted Lands, doing basically whatever you can to stop the Iron Horde from pouring out of the Dark Portal. It's pretty much like the world event leading up to the expansion. The green portal in Blasted Lands that many of you know that you go through to get into Outland, it went from green and now it's red, and there's a zone event going on right there. There's a lot of class changes for across the board. Character stats have been squished into smaller numbers that are easier to understand. It's not a nerf because enemy stats have also been squished in accordance with that, all relative to that. Balance functionality of agility, strength, and intellect have been changed. There's new secondary stats, bonus armor, multi-strike, and versatility. Hidden expertise have been removed. They're no longer needed in order to reliably land attacks. Healing has been changed up a little bit. I guess they changed the pacing of the healing to allow for more tactical decision making regarding efficiency and throughput. That's for both single target and AoE heals. Passive and auto-targeted healing have been reduced in effectiveness in order to emphasize the actions and choices of healers. Racial traits have been rebalanced so that all races have similar combat performance. So like if you were, pretty much Orc was like the best character to take for most classes on Horde because you have the Berserk. Versus other classes that really don't have anything that's that useful. That's why you see so many damn orcs and trolls, because trolls have something similar to that too. All classes have had several abilities pruned, with a focus on redundant and less used abilities to cut down on button and keybind bloat. So pretty much they're either merging or eliminating a lot of the abilities. They also reduced drastically the crowd control in the game for primarily PvP. Many crowd control abilities have been removed, and many diminishing returns categories have been merged together. Several common buffs and debuffs have been merged or removed because, well, they were redundant. All characters can now learn some important major glyphs automatically as you level up, so you don't have to spend 600-700 gold on the auction house if you're broke to learn some of these glyphs. They'll automatically give some of them to you. They toned down the amount of instant healing in the game by giving cast times to several instant cast heals. So a lot of those, I know, like I have a couple instant cast heals on my Wrestle Druid I'm working on, and it's going to make it, I guess, a little bit more difficult having cast times and everything. What I'm hoping for, because the servers didn't go live yet at the time I'm making this video, is that I'm hoping that they at least allow you to cast it on the run. That's what I'm hoping for. For tanks, Vengeance has been redesigned and renamed Resolve. Resolve does not increase outgoing damage, but does now increase the tank's self-healing and absorption based on damage taken. Facing requirements, so basically as in your character positioning, on some abilities has been basically loosened or removed completely, so you don't have to be facing the target for your ability to go off, because I know a lot of you have probably had that in Raid or whatever, where you get turned around or something like that, or in PvP, and you go to cast something and all of a sudden it says cast failed or whatever, because you're not facing them at the right angle. A lot of that has been removed. Professions no longer have combat benefits perk tied to them, which I'm assuming that means that, like, say, for mining, I get a stamina bonus because I have, an X level miner. I'm pretty sure that they're removing all that. A multitude of class-specific changes, like improved distinction between different talent specializations and new masteries. You're gonna, according to this, it says, consult the class-specific sections below for more information. Additional changes: world environment. Nighttime environments for some areas receiving lighting adjustments to make them more night-like, so it's going to be darker instead of pretty much daytime all the time. Classic starting areas, the level 1 to 10 zones, receive a number of improvements to the tutorial, quests, and creature NPC tuning to provide smoother starting experience. I don't know. I always thought it was pretty good to begin with, but okay. Creatures, the Core Crown Guards, and forces loyal to Garrosh have been ousted from the horse cities and settlements, so there's going to be new guards in the town, in the Orgrimmar at least. Access to Ordon's Sanctuary or eligibility for loot from Ordos no longer requires players to have completed the legendary Cloak questline. Isle of Thunder. Troves of the Thunder King has been retired, and associated achievements have been converted into feats of strength. The key to the Palace of Li Shen has been removed. Elder Charm of Good Fortune will now drop in place of the key. As for quests, Warforged Seals is no longer a weekly quest. Players can now redeem as many Warforged Seals as they have Lesser Charms of Good Fortune for. Let's see here. Valor and justice point removal. Valor points and justice points have been removed. Most items that formerly had a Valor and justice point cost now cost gold instead, which is going to be sweet because I can buy all my heirloom stuff now. Valor and justice points remaining on a character will be converted into gold at a rate of 47 silver per point. Personal loot for raids. Support for personal loot mode has expanded to other raid difficulties, normal, heroic, and mythic on Siege of Orgrimmar and in future raids. So, basically, instead of having to roll for stuff against a guild, you're pretty much always going to have a chance at getting a piece of gear, which I think is pretty sweet. Loot is no longer automatically deposited to the player's inventory after defeating a boss in personal loot mode. Players eligible to receive loot should now be able to loot the boss to see what they have received. What else we got here? Raid leaders can now elect to use personal loot mode for their raid under loot options. Siege of Orgrimmar, let's see here. Dungeons. Completing random normal difficulty dungeons via Dungeon Finder in Wrath of the Lich King Kata or Mist of Pandaland now awards a satchel of helpful goods. Which before, that was always, you only got that pre-Kata, I'm pretty sure, pre-Wrath. Achievements associated with Miss Pandaria Challenge mode, or the CMs, have been converted into feats of strength. The CMs, as many of you know, have ended. You cannot get that anymore. You cannot get the title for it, at least. Let's see here. Gold Medal. Proving Grounds. Proving Grounds can now be accessed by characters starting at level 15. However, only level 100 characters will be able to progress past bronze. Can't talk. Achievements associated with the level 90 version of Proving Grounds has been removed into a legacy category. Characters that have completed the achievement Proving Yourself Endless Damage Wave 30 will retain their titles. PvP provided additional safeguards to prevent accidental PvP flagging. Non-PvP flag players are unable to heal or damage PvP flag players unless they manually flag themselves for PvP combat. PvP flagging can now be toggled by typing /PvP into chat. Players on a non-PvP realm joining a cross-realm group now receive a confirmation prompt warning that they may cross into a PvP-enabled realm by joining the group. Battlegrounds and Arenas. PvP Season 15 comes to an end with the launch of 6.0. Conquest points will be converted into honor points, and any honor above the cap of 4,000 will be converted into in-game currency at a rate of 35 silver per point. Season 15 items will have conquest cost converted into honor points equivalent to their previous conquest point cost, with the exception of any items that have a rating requirement. Season 15 items with the rating requirements will no longer be available for purchase. Note that the arena and rated battleground matches will not be available until PvP 16 begins. For Battlegrounds, Battleground brackets have been restructured to be every 10 levels instead of every 5 levels, so 10 to 19, 20 to 29, 30 to 39, etc. Players will still have their effective character level increased at a maximum level for that bracket. So basically, if you come in at level 21, you're not going to be fighting level 29 players. You're going to be, basically, your character is going to have like a behind-the-scenes boost, I guess you could call it, to match that, or like the bolster buff in Rift does exactly that. Flag carriers are not in Eye of the Storm and Deepwind Gorge are now subject to the Focus Assault and Brutal Assault debuff. Focus Assault is a stacking debuff that increases damage taken by 10% per stack, with a new stack being applied every 30 seconds after all the flags have been picked up from their bases. Upon reaching 5 stacks, Force Assault turns into Brutal Assault. Brutal Assault is a stacking debuff that increases damage taken by 10% per stack and limits the character to normal running speed. A new stack is applied every 30 seconds with a limit of 15 stacks. So you can't have people grabbing flags and holding them and basically bolting across the map. It's gonna, put some more pressure on them. Arena skirmishes have been reintroduced and are now available for players that want to test their mettle against other arena teams in an unranked environment. Honor points are awarded to the winning team of an arena skirmish match. So pretty much it's a practice arena. Dampening is now applied to an arena match starting at the 5-minute mark for all arena matches. The Wargames command line parameter has been changed to accept Battletag or Real ID Friend as the first argument, which many of you probably don't know what that is, but anyways, on to the next thing here. For items listed for sale on the Alliance, Horde, and Neutral auction houses have now been combined together on a per realm basis, so pretty much merged auction houses. Vendors who sell PvE heirloom items for Justice points have taken a vacation. PvE heirlooms will continue to be available at the Darkmoon Pharaoh and Trial of the Crusader, and PvP heirlooms will still be available to purchase for Honor. Shield and offhand heirlooms items will be added to the PvE heirloom vendors at the Darkmoon Fair. Remove class restrictions from weapons, offhand items, shields found in the Dragon Soul in Raid Finder difficulty. Class tier armor set bonuses have been modified to adjust for ability pruning and consolidation. Restored artifacts sold by Spirit of Harmony vendors now cost 3 Spirit of Harmony up from 1. Argent Crusade, Ebenblade, Kiran Tor, Sons of Hodir, and Wormrest commendation badges are no longer sold. The Black Market Auction House. The duration for auctions on the Black Market Auction House has been slightly reduced. Bids made on items with less than 5 minutes remaining will continue to extend the duration of the auction. UI. Added What's New screen, also accessible through the in-game menu /What's New, with a brief summary of new features, highlights, content that has been added in the patch. The Dungeon Journal has been updated with new information on Warlords Draenor content. Added a tab for graphics settings that are applied while in Raid or Battlegrounds. So I know some people do really good in Raid with their graphics settings, but do crap in PvP for whatever reason. So there's different settings that you can use for that. I know some people in PvP like to have their anti-aliasing and ground effects way down, so there's no ground clutter and whatnot. So no chance of any kind of lag or anything like that. So I guess for those people that go back and forth between PvP and Raid a lot, that would be a good thing to have, a good option. Outline mode is a new setting that places an outline around important NPCs and objects without having to look at nameplates or tooltips. Key bindings are now grouped by category for ease of navigation. Added an option to toggle floating combat text for pet battles. Added an option to display a number for time remaining on ability cooldowns. Improved weapon comparison tooltips to make it easier to compare between two-handed and one-handed weapon setups. Add-ons can now be managed without logging into the character selection screen. Guild perks, or guilds no longer have levels. All guilds have access to a standard set of bonuses and abilities on creation. Brawlers Guild. Season 1 of the Brawlers has come to a close, and associated achievements have been converted into feats of strength. Mounts and Mount Journal. Entries in the Mount Journal now have a description and information on where or how the mount can be obtained. Mount Journal now lists all mounts that have been collected on the account. Ones that the character is unable to use will be displayed in red. Players can now designate a mount as a favorite, placing it at the top of the collected mounts list. Summon random favorite mount has been added, randomly summoning a mount that's usable for the area from the favorites list. All flying mounts are now able to be used as ground mount in areas that do not allow flying. Grand Expeditioniac's reforging vendor, the Mystic Bird Hat, has been replaced with a vendor that offers transmog services. So that's a lot of stuff for this patch. There was a bunch of other little stuff in between there that I just skipped over because I didn't deem it too important. But yeah, so that is the gist of the Warlords Draenor 6.0 patch. And so it's a lot of stuff and a lot of cool stuff to look forward to. So if you've listened this far, thank you for listening. I'm going to be now, after this, I'm going to log in because the server should be coming up here shortly, and I'm going to make a video showing the different stuffs that they added and subtracted and removed and whatnot from the game.